Hi, this is Katherine Burik from The Interview Doctor. We offer fast action remedies to find your ideal job. Today, we're going to look at 5 tips to a successful job search or career transition. We're excited to have you join us today for this important topic. Come back with me in my office for a glimpse into the face of job search reality from the hiring manager's perspective. Today, I'm interviewing a series of candidates for a production manager job. These candidates come highly recommended with great resumes. Their future rides on this interview. The first candidate, Samuel, comes into the office with a big smile and a nice handshake. His suit looks like it more properly belongs to his dad because it doesn't fit very well and has a big stain on the lapel. He doesn't have an extra copy of his resume and his portfolio is messy. His response to my first question, "Tell me about yourself," wanders all over the place. He does not seem confident of what he wants, and he does not have the stories to support the idea that he can do this job. I wonder what he really wants, but I don't have time to sort it all out. He's just kind of a mess. The second candidate, Patricia, she seems real quiet. She launches into a very soft response to "Tell me about yourself," so quietly that I can barely hear her. She doesn't make very good eye contact either. I'm not exactly sure what she wants. She's got a good background, but she doesn't leave a good impression. I wonder if she would be happy here. The third candidate, James, leaps into the room like a gazelle. He makes great eye contact, but then he leans back into his chair and he puts his feet on the desk. I'm serious. His familiarity bothers me, although I like his energy. He seems a little superficial. I wonder how well he's going to build relationships here in this company. The final candidate, George, seems nice enough. He's got pretty good answers to my questions, but he drops the F-bomb in almost every sentence. Seriously. He talks a lot and his stories wander all over the place. I get the impression that he will talk forever if I let him. I don't think he's going to fit into our culture, especially with that language. How am I going to find the right candidate, even when the candidates that look great on paper have serious flaws? Every day, hiring managers seek candidates with great experience and good resumes who cannot interview their way out of a paper bag. As a human resource executive, I met these people daily. I felt terrible when I had to turn them away, but you can be sure that I turned people like that away regularly. If you've been a hiring manager in your past life, then you know I'm speaking the truth. This is the hiring manager's dilemma. As a candidate, you know you have more to offer than some of the candidates that the hiring managers see, yet you're stuck. How can you make the hiring manager see that you are a great catch? Perhaps you're like Sophia, a 50-year-old controller who showed me a binder filled with cover letters she sent responding to advertisements. She seldom heard back from any of them. She started to believe there was something wrong with her. No one wanted her. She must be too something, too old, too dark, too female, too something. After a while, you lose your confidence. We've had many clients who find themselves in the same situation. Or perhaps you're like Wyatt, who graduated from college without a real idea of what he wanted to do. He finds many opportunities to sell insurance, but nothing that really makes sense for him. His job search seems impossible and very frustrating. When you're under this kind of stress, like Sophia or Wyatt, your mind fills in an information vacuum with anything that seems to make sense, whether it's true or not. When a job search takes a long time, it makes you feel defeated. Does that sound familiar? Have you ever felt like you just wanted to stop the merry-go-round and find a better way? It is possible that there is something wrong with the process that job seekers are using, maybe with the process that you are using. There's got to be a better way. We can help. We offer a different way to search for a job or a career. We want you to get an advantage over the competition. We want you to make up for lost time if you've been at your job search for a while. We want you to move forward in your career. Today, we're going to share with you 5 tips to successful job search so that you can turn the job search process upside down. These 5 tips make a difference in the way you approach the process. I'm Katherine Burik, the interview doctor. I've been a human resource executive for most of my career, leading HR teams in companies ranging from 20 million to 700 million. I founded the Interview Doctor in 2004 because I was frustrated with the candidates who passed by my desk. They had good enough resumes, and sometimes they even had good references, but they seemed like duds to me. I knew there had to be a good candidate inside there somewhere, but many times I couldn't figure out what the candidate had to offer, and the candidates weren't much help. So I started my own coaching practice to help candidates express themselves better during those crucial interviews. From our beginnings, focused on coaching candidates to interviewing better, we expanded to help candidates with all aspects of the job search process, from career coaching to resumes to job search techniques, LinkedIn, and interviewing. Some of the tools come from my own experience. I like to tell people I've been laid off more times than most, probably more times than you have. Of my 8 jobs in corporate America, I've been laid off or terminated 7 times. I like to take on big challenges, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. Some of those companies went under. Sometimes we orchestrated mass layoffs that even impacted me. Sometimes my boss left, and the new boss wanted to work with someone else. It happens. Maybe you've been in the same situation yourself. I've always landed on my feet in more challenging positions in larger companies, making more money with more direct reports. Most important, I always learn something. I'm thankful that with experience comes wisdom to help me make better decisions. Along the way, I picked up some very useful job search skills. I bet you can imagine that's true. For example, my method of training people to effectively answer the question, "Tell me about yourself," is the same method I developed for myself many years ago. It works. This method made me feel confident and prepared. I sounded better in interviews. I almost always got a job offer. This put me in the enviable position of being able to decide if I wanted to take the job rather than begging people to hire me. It worked well for me. It works well for our clients. I've learned a lot from our clients too. The 3 books we wrote are filled with stories about our clients, their frustrations, their successes. In our blog, we share best practices, all in the spirit of helping you get the job or career you want. These techniques work. Candidate after candidate learn to create job search marketing plans and networking experiences that resulted in new jobs and sometimes multiple job offers. Take Laura, for example. She came to the Interview Doctor frustrated with her job and her boss. She was very unhappy, but she didn't know what to do or where to start. She pulled together a basic resume that she sent out regularly, but nothing happened. Of course, nothing happened. She was going about the process all wrong. We restructured Laura's resume around the ideal job she wanted, then helped Laura create a job search marketing plan. We optimized her LinkedIn profile, then taught her how to use LinkedIn to explore the possibilities. Laura combined job ads, targeted companies, and LinkedIn networking with her detailed job search marketing plan. Only then did job search make sense. Laura started to see progress. Laura went from frustrated wandering to focused job search to 3 offers after about 4 months of effort by applying the 5 tips we're going to share here. Only then did her job search make sense. Only then did her career tools like her resume and her LinkedIn profile make sense. Only after changing her job search process was she able to make something happen. Only after putting the Interview Doctor's 5 tips into action can we get started with a solid, productive job search. It all starts with these 5 tips. Today, we're going to talk about the most important aspects of job search, having a plan and networking to find opportunities. Networking is the key to a job search. I don't care what anyone says, that is the truth. Without a plan and without networking, you're just going to wander around in the dark, lost and lonely, filling in the vacuum with your own dark imagination. But you combine those job search tools with networking, and you can create a great job search plan. But before we get started, we have a special offer for you. If you hang in there through the end of the tips, we're going to have a special opportunity for a lucky listener to get something really special. Because LinkedIn is such an important part of the job search process, at the end of this discussion, I'm going to analyze one person's LinkedIn profile right here, right in person. So hang in there through these job tips, which are going to help you organize your job search. I could be analyzing your profile. I'm going to give you my overall impression and at least 3 or 4 tips to improve your profile for job search. This is going to be fun. I can't wait. As we work with candidates over the years, we've learned some basic fundamental principles that make a difference in your job search. Today, we're going to offer these 5 tips to make a difference in your job search and move your job search forward. These 5 tips make the difference between wandering around and using your time wisely to get what you want. Maybe you already know some of these tips. Maybe there are some tips that are new to you. So listen carefully for the tip that's going to make the difference for you. Okay, so let's get started. This is our first tip to a successful job search. Tip 1 is know what you want. I know. You want a job. Of course you do. That's not exactly what we're talking about. Everyone wants a job, but what exactly do you want? You can't be all things to all people. A few years ago, my very talented, wonderful cousin graduated with an MBA from Purdue after getting an undergraduate degree from Purdue in industrial engineering. He is super smart and really nice. We couldn't figure out why he couldn't get a job. It didn't make any sense. He had plenty of interviews, but he had no offers. Something was wrong. As a favor to me, a friend of mine agreed to interview him to see what was going on. The friend came back and said, "Wow, John is a great guy and so talented, but he doesn't really know what he wants. I'm not sure what to do with him." Imagine that. Someone with all those very specific degrees cannot express exactly what he wants. He was all over the place. He even said the deadly words, "I'll do anything." Oh, don't ever say that. Hiring managers and recruiters and HR people do not have time to help you figure out what you want. If you happen to meet your needs right at that moment, great, you're going to get their attention. But if you're too vague or don't match their requirements, they will not have time for you. They won't help you figure it out. The more specific and clear you are about what you want, the easier it is for hiring managers to figure out how to utilize your skills. In fact, the more specific and clear you are about your accomplishments and goals, the more likely it is that they can imagine you working in their business. You must have a specific goal that is easily understood as a headline in your resume and LinkedIn profile. Use the words that the hiring managers use. You can't be all things to all people. Pick the job you want and build your LinkedIn profile and job search around it. Remember Patricia? She was the quiet candidate in our initial example. She didn't seem to know what she wanted. That raised more questions than it answers. No one is going to help Patricia figure out what she wants. Until she figures this out, Patricia will get passed over every time. Are you pinpoint clear about your job goals? If not, step back and consider what exactly you want, so anyone looking at your resume or LinkedIn profile or talking with you even is totally clear about your goals. All right, here is tip number 2 to a successful job search. Tip number 2, position yourself. You have to position yourself where the hiring managers are looking, positioning yourself as the candidate they need in a manner that they can understand. Your job search materials should clearly understand the questions who, what, when, where, why. You are the perfect candidate with the perfect skills to do this job. All your job search materials should be consistent in support of your personal brand, your resume, business cards, LinkedIn profile, cover letter, interview questions, elevator speech, everything. If not, then you are not pinpoint clear and you are not positioned in a way that makes you the clear best candidate for the job you want. After you describe yourself properly and position yourself, you must place yourself where you can be found. Ask yourself, where will hiring managers look for someone like me who is the perfect candidate? You have to know this information. What companies can use someone with your career goals and experience? Which people can give you the proper introductions into those companies? How can I best describe my experiences succinctly to position myself as the best candidate? If you can't answer these questions, you are not properly positioned. Consider this. If you are catching a train to the airport, if you show up at the bus station, you will miss the train. It's kind of a silly example, but you get my point. You have to be at the right place, interacting with the right people, with the right responses to be positioned correctly for the opportunity you desire. Otherwise, you just wander. It's a terrible thing. Remember Samuel from the beginning of our discussion? Samuel had a big smile and a nice handshake, but his appearance left something to be desired. Samuel looked disheveled. It's not a big leap to make the assumption that he's not well organized if you don't know him. In addition to his appearance, his response to my first question, tell me about yourself, wandered all over the place. He does not seem confident of what he wants, and he does not have the stories to support the idea that he can do this job. He might have been able to overcome his appearance with great pinpoint positioning in the way he responded to the questions, but he didn't. He wandered all over the place. He didn't seem confident of what he wants, and he did not have the right stories to support the idea that he can do the job. Taken together, he torpedoed himself. No hiring manager is going to figure out how to utilize Samuel's skills and experience if he can't position himself effectively. Are you positioned correctly, or do you just wander? Are you able to answer the critical questions of who, what, when, where, why, and how to position yourself in front of the people who can help? If not, then put that on your list of things to do for an effective job search. Tip number 3. This is our third tip for a successful job search. Tip number 3 is to tell your story. Your search needs to be on the terms that the hiring managers understand. You must define yourself. Tell your story using the terms that the hiring manager uses. Oddly, job search is not about you at all. It's about telling your story in a manner that the hiring managers can understand. Perhaps like me, you've had extensive business experience with many accomplishments that you are proud of. Each of those experiences and accomplishments has a story. Which of those stories should you share? What if you start blabbering on about a story that is not relevant to the listener, or the listener is the listener rolling his eyes while you blather on? Before you start your job search, you should consider very seriously what you want to talk about, because everything is not important. If it's not important to the listener, then you undermine your chances of getting what you want. Not everything is important. Before you start your job search, consider seriously what stories are important. Which accomplishments support your specific career goals? What are the very few most important things you want people to know about you? You don't have to include everything. Now, then, does your LinkedIn profile effectively tell your story? Have you highlighted stories and accomplishments that can support your goal in your LinkedIn profile? Every word should support your claim that you are the right candidate for this job. Remember George from our early story? George seemed nice enough. He had pretty good answers to questions until he dropped the F-bomb in almost every sentence. Who does that? He talked too much and his stories wandered all over the place. His stories convinced me that George was not the right candidate. He undermined himself with his own stories. What is your story? Are you aware of what you want hiring managers to know about you? Have you consciously and strategically selected the accomplishments and stories that make you look like the right fit for the job you want? Does your LinkedIn profile share a personal brand with the accomplishments that tell your story? If not, then you have some work to do. All right, let's check in for a minute. We've covered 3 of the 5 important tips so far to set up your job search. Number 1, know what you want. Number 2, position yourself. And number 3, share your story. These 3 tips will get you organized to begin your search. If you don't have these 3 tips in place, then your job search will take much longer than it needs to. That would be a shame. The next 2 tips involve how you search. So here's our 4th tip to a successful job search. Once you know what you want, you can define yourself in terms the hiring manager understands. Then you must build relationships with people who can help. You want to build relationships with key people who can help you get what you want. This is tip number 4. This is where LinkedIn becomes critical. You must identify the people you need to meet at the companies you target. Then you reach out to build relationships. You have a lot of coffee. That's how I describe networking. I have a lot of coffee myself. Actually, just between us, I don't drink coffee at all. I drink iced tea or water, but I call this kind of relationship building having a lot of coffee. One time I asked someone to meet me for coffee, and she met me at her office door with two huge cups of steaming coffee. I forced myself to drink my cup, but I didn't sleep for 3 days. So I don't drink coffee. I just call it having coffee. The meeting itself was worthwhile. I built a relationship and got a referral. That was my goal. Another way to build relationships is through informational interviews. Identify some people you want to meet and then ask them a question about the work they do or their career path. This gets them talking. The more they talk, the more they'll like you because you're a good listener. But most people in network like this. They ask someone, do you know of any jobs? The typical answer is no, because most people don't know of a specific job opening. I don't. People ask me this all the time. Do you know of any jobs in human resources? And I say, no, I'm not aware of any. But after that, the conversation is done. There is no more conversation. Don't waste your time or a valuable opportunity by asking if your contact knows of any jobs. The answer is almost always no. Instead, be creative. Think of some good questions that are going to get people talking. Questions about the work they do or some controversial practice or idea in your field. This is a much more effective technique to build relationships. The conversation will inevitably come around to you. They're almost certainly going to say, so what's your story? The more they talk, the better you look, and you will get a chance to share your own story. Remember James? He had a lot of energy and made great eye contact, which is wonderful. He made an initially good impression. Then he got really comfortable and he put his feet on the desk and started chattering away. His familiarity undermined his initial good impression. He did not build a relationship. He just annoyed the hiring manager and wasted the interview. An interview of any kind, whether it's networking or for a specific job, is a terrible thing to waste. Are you asking the right questions to the right people to get the job you want? If not, maybe you need to reassess. So how are you doing so far? Does this approach make sense to you? Does it sound interesting? Are you approaching your career or job search in this manner? I know I've thrown a lot of information at you in a short period of time, and I wouldn't blame you if your head is spinning a little. But maybe, on the other hand, these first 4 tips are new to you. Maybe your head really is spinning. If have not organized your job search or career path with these tips as a foundation, you might be wandering around discouraged and frustrated. It's not necessary to be so frustrated. We offer a better way. We would love to share our experiences and ideas to help you organize your job search better. We want to help you get what you want. We have so much more to share. We haven't even touched on how to use these powerful tips strategically. LinkedIn is a wonderful tool to tie these tips together. Job search has changed so much in the last 10 years. You're going to be left behind if you do not understand how to tie our 5 job search tips together with LinkedIn. You can get a job without a resume, but you cannot get a job without a decent LinkedIn profile. To share our ideas with as many people as possible, the Interview Doctor has revised our LinkedIn online training program to jumpstart your job search. The LinkedIn online job search training program, which we call is self-paced. You work on lessons on your own schedule in the comfort of your own home. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're wondering, what's in it for me? This is a great question. I'd be asking it myself. LinkedIn is home base for job seekers these days. You simply cannot conduct an effective job search or a robust career without LinkedIn. If your job search is stalled, or you're about to begin a job search, or you just want to grow your career, you must have more than a basic understanding of LinkedIn. Our program, Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for Job Seekers, will set you up to find and be found, creating a social media home base where you can find jobs, people, or companies that interest you, and also be found by hiring managers looking for someone like you. It's a great way to share what you know, demonstrate your skills and accomplishments, advance your career by making connections and learning about opportunities before they're posted, maybe even making your own opportunities. LinkedIn is a great place to research companies and people. This is part of the idea of find and be found. In this day of personal branding, we will also learn how to use LinkedIn to establish and improve your brand and what people think of you. Finally, this program will help you get the job you want. We focus on results. These programs represent tools and processes that might both be new to you, but form the core skills necessary to control your career and job search these days. Without a job search marketing plan, and definitely without LinkedIn, you will continue to wander. Get the results you want with this online training program from the Interview Doctor. It comes down to this. If you are not confident of your plan, then you need to make a new plan. Start with the Interview Doctor's LinkedIn training program designed specifically for job seekers. Put muscles in your plan with LinkedIn. Learn how to do that with the Interview Doctor's online training program on LinkedIn. The Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for Job Seekers online training program includes 5 lessons you can complete at your own pace. Just like our 5 tips, the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for Job Seekers starts with exploring yourself. You have to know what you want and how to position yourself in the marketplace to effectively use LinkedIn for job seekers. Lesson 2 teaches you LinkedIn basics to make sure everyone is on the same page. This lesson ensures you finish with a solid LinkedIn profile. Session 2 goes into the 3 C's, using LinkedIn to establish connections, competence, and credibility. Lesson 3 explores how effective your LinkedIn profile represents you in the social media webosphere out there, blogosphere, the interwebs. Lesson 4 addresses how to share what you know so you can have conversations with other people about topics you love. We use the information in the first 4 lessons to prepare for the final lesson on LinkedIn. The final session is a deep dive into using LinkedIn properly to network so you can get the most out of LinkedIn for job seekers. We've updated and expanded our original program to provide a comprehensive dive into this powerful job search tool. This program is perfect for those of you who are not in a job search, but just want to learn how to use this powerful tool to move your career forward faster. You can get this entire program for just $147. 5 lessons to get your LinkedIn home base organized and up to speed so you can get the job you want. This is such a great opportunity. For only $147, you get 5 training sessions in this online training program packed with lots of tips, cheat sheets, and great ideas. Plus, we have a private LinkedIn group so you can share ideas with each other and get support from the interview doctor. To make the most of each session, you're always going to have homework from the interview doctor to put the program ideas into action in your own life. Sometimes I think the homework is the most valuable part of the series. Well, here's the link to get started right away. This comprehensive online training program contains all the information you need to put your career plan into action. We are the only organization I'm aware of offering this high-quality online training program for job seekers specifically focused on LinkedIn. So what are you waiting for? Every day, I work with job seekers and those frustrated with their careers. I am shocked how many people are frustrated with their careers while at the same time owning a substandard LinkedIn profile. It makes me very sad because with a little training, you can use LinkedIn to get what you want. If you're starting out in your career or really stuck in a job or career you hate, then get this program. You have the ability to solve your own frustrations with this online training program. Take action now. Get the interview doctor's inside scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers for only $147. That's less than $30 per lesson, including all those tips, cheat sheets, and ideas, and the support from the interview doctor. You can't beat that deal. That's less than $30 for 5 lessons to light a rocket under your job search. Think of it this way. A venti drink at Starbucks costs $5 these days. All you get for that $5 is a tasty drink, then poof, it's gone. Skip a few of those expensive cups of coffee and you can build yourself a new career. What else can you get for $30? I looked it up. You can get a daily planner. You can get a smart LED light bulb. You could get a good bottle of wine or a set of bamboo bed sheets. All of those things are nice. Or you can make an investment in your future. What is that new career worth to you? What are you willing to do to get what you want? What investment are you willing to make in yourself? It's time for our final tip to a successful job search. Tip number 5 is to set goals for regular action. Very appropriate after the special offer we just shared with you. All of the plans in the world are for naught if you don't execute. It's critical to set goals. That's easier said than done. In my view, job search is a numbers game. You have to keep moving, adding connections, talking to people, having coffee before something meaningful happens. You can no longer spend the day submitting resumes to job ads and think this will be useful. You have to step out of your comfort zone to network in a way that perhaps you have not done before. A job search is a sales effort, and you are the product. In the sales world, they consider the sales process as sort of a funnel. It takes a lot of hot leads to identify opportunities, to submit proposals, then ultimately find new customers. This activity can be measured. In the job search sales process, It takes a lot of connections, LinkedIn connections especially, to find people who are open to having quality conversations. Some of those people are open to having coffee. A few of those coffees will turn into interviews. It takes a few interviews to get a job offer. The job search process is a numbers game. You must set goals to keep the action going. How many coffee meetings will you have this week? And how many calls or new connections does it take to be in a position to schedule those coffee meetings each week? How many coffee meetings does it take to get an interview? You should know the answers to these questions. These become the basis for your daily and weekly goals. Without specific goals, you will never make the calls or new connections needed to get what you want. You want to put these 5 tips into action. We created many cheat sheets and tools to help you understand how to use LinkedIn for job search so you can find a career or a job that makes you happy. We have so much more to share, more than fits into this short time together. Let us share what we know with you. Join us on this adventure with our online training program. Let us share what we know with you. We are just offering the inside scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers for $147. Since you've listened so patiently to me through this discussion, we would like to offer you a special limited time offer of $97. You will never see this price again. I feel so strongly that you need this online training program that I want to slash the price like this. My marketing team is going to kill me. This special introductory rate expires 5 days after you view this presentation. After that, the price goes back to the regular price, which is a steal itself. But this special introductory rate is really special. You will never see this price again. The link to get this powerful tool is noted at the bottom of this sheet. Perhaps you want to be a deeper dive into LinkedIn. Maybe this powerful tool is more than you want to do alone. I can understand that. We offer a VIP option for private coaching, offering more personalized support than is possible in the regular program. Go further, faster with private coaching from me to customize your LinkedIn profile and learn how to use LinkedIn to propel your personal job search marketing plan. We can answer your questions and give you advice you cannot receive in an online classroom setting. Normally, it costs $240 per hour to have a private session with the interview doctor. If you are interested in going further, faster, we can talk with you about a VIP coaching package. If you purchase the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers, we will offer you 5 hours of private coaching for $500. That's a significant reduction compared to the regular pricing of $700 savings. We can offer this rate because you will be learning so much from the online training program. Coaching plus online self-study training program means results. You're going to go faster with private coaching. Invest in yourself with online self-study programs along with private coaching. All right, let's stop for a moment and catch our breath. You are on this call because either you or someone you know is tired of drifting around without a plan for your future. Admit you're tired of drifting around. The old job search techniques do not work. Stop relying on job postings and learn how to utilize LinkedIn, the most powerful job search tool ever invented. Take control of your future with the interview doctor. Go further, faster with private coaching to customize your personal job search marketing plan and get the most out of LinkedIn. Apply our job search and LinkedIn principles, and you can start generating your own luck. Get the Interview Doctor's online training program, Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers. Join us now. All right, let's summarize those 5 tips to successful job search. First, know what you want. Number 2, position yourself. Number 3, tell your story succinctly. Number 4, build relationships with people who can help you. And number 5, tying the whole thing together, set goals so that you put the tips into action. Do you think you can add any of these tips to your career action plan? Customize your job search and career plans with our expanded online self-study training program, Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for Job Seekers. Every participant will have plenty of homework to reinforce the concepts, customize the approach for your career goal. By the end of the program, you're going to have a fuller understanding of job search using LinkedIn. If you do the homework and work at it properly, you're going to come out of these sessions with a plan you're going to work on until you get what you want. The program is regularly $147, but available now for $97 for a limited time only. Take advantage of the discounted private coaching through the VIP package available when you purchase the online self-study training program. Sign up now. There's the link. I want you to sign up now. This is really going to help your to help move your job search or career forward faster. So let's take a look at a LinkedIn profile. The winner is Julia Rugemer. Now, I'm going to look inside. As we look inside, I want you to look at what a viewer of a profile looks at. We're going to look at the impression that is left, the personal brand that she's delivering, whether or not this profile is optimized, and whether or not it is keyword rich. This is how I look at these profiles. If you're not familiar with these terms, then you really need the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for Job Seekers. Okay, took a minute to go get Julia's profile. This is Julia Rugemer. She is this is the first impression you receive of her profile. So first things I observe here is her picture is a selfie. And a selfie is not the best picture to have if you're trying to professionalize your profile. So I would recommend that Julia have a professional headshot taken where she's smiling, that lovely smile, but the lighting would be better and she would look more professional. Also, take a look at, she only has 75 connections. You see that down here, right here? She only has 75 connections. That's not enough. You need to have a good solid number of connections. Generally, I love to see people with 500 plus, but at least 400 or 500 connections is what you need. And in fact, most everybody listening to this call today, you probably know that many people, but you would be surprised at how many people you know. I'd like to draw attention to this statement here. Under her name, it says financial accountant at ASC Industries, Inc. This is the default headline. The default headline is your current job and job title, but it doesn't really establish your brand. It doesn't really tell the viewer what it is that you bring to the table. It would be so much better if she had a keyword-rich headline that said something like general accountant, accounting manager, APAR, financial reporting, budgets. There's enough room in that headline space. There's 120 characters, including spaces. There's enough room in there to describe yourself in a way that supports your brand and supports your job search or career without relying on the default. Okay. Now, the other thing, you can't see it here. Let me see if I can open this. See contact information right here. Okay, Julia's profile. All right, so this is interesting. First of all, let's look at the profile. uh, that contact information, that's called your personal URL. See where it says linkedin.com/in/Julia-Rugemer-a number. Well, it's possible to customize that URL as well to add in more keywords. So I would recommend that Julia change her URL to Julia-Rugemer-financial accountant, because that's what she is, and those are some of her keywords. The other thing I notice in here is that her email references Javik, which I believe is her maiden name. I suspect that's her maiden name, and that Rugemer is a new name. So if you, especially true for women, if you have changed your name but people know you by another name, that it's better or often useful to put your other name in parentheses. And this is also true for a nickname. So we could say Julia, parentheses, Javik, close parentheses, Rugemer. And that way she's got both names, and someone who doesn't know that she's married or can't remember her married name could just type in Julia Javik and still find her. All right, does that make sense? Okay, those are a few of the tips that I would do. Let's go down a little bit more and take a, well, first of all, right here, this blue background back here, this is the default background banner, background photo. You have the opportunity to insert a background photo that more clearly supports your brand, something that's important to you. And we get into this in a great detail and give specific instructions on how to do that in the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers. So if we scooch down and we look at her profile summary, this is a good profile summary. I like that. It's got keywords. Keywords are things like analytical, accountant, gap, inventory, budgets, reporting, those kinds of things. So this is good. You're allowed up to 2,000 characters, including spaces. So there's more room for more detail if she wanted to do that. Let's see. We look at, now if you look at the experience section, she is using nice use of keywords here, but she doesn't really tell a story. This is mostly about tasks, and with tasks are kind of boring. Nobody remembers tasks. They don't really fill out, or they don't really get anyone excited. So I would recommend that she consider adjusting the descriptions inside each of the jobs to focus on some of the accomplishments that she has. I'm sure everyone has accomplishments, so focus on accomplishments. Now, she goes back pretty far in her experiences and into when she was in college, and I would recommend potentially taking these jobs off. Everything prior to the beginning of her career as an AR representative after she graduated from college. The rest of it was important when she was younger, when she was maybe even a recent college graduate or in college. But once you graduate from college and get a professional gig, then you start to remove the items that are less important, especially things that you did for a short period of time. Let's see. Julia, we go right into the skills and endorsement section, and here I see a nice use of skills, which is good. You are allowed up to 50 skills, and as you consider skills, make use of the skills that add some skills. Don't just use the skills that are organically generated by people who are giving you endorsements. And by the way, you'll get more endorsements if you have more connections. So this is Julia also does not have any recommendations, and I'm assuming she's a lovely woman, and people are going to say good things about her, and so we want to make sure she gets some good recommendations from people who can say that she's done a great job. Recommendations are really important in LinkedIn. Well, that was fun. Did you enjoy that as much as I did? I want to go back now to our presentation and close up. That is how I look at a LinkedIn profile, and those are some of the changes that Julia could make. She could understand how to make those changes if she were to participate in the Interview Doctor's Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers. She would understand exactly how to do that. Probably take her maybe one session one sit-down session. I bet you can get that done this weekend. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is sign up for the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers. This is a critical training material that will help you understand how to pull together all of the 5 tips that we talked about before. I want to thank you for joining us to look at the 5 tips for successful job search. Let me know if you have any questions about the 5 tips or about this powerful online training program. Click on the link to get started with the Inside Scoop on LinkedIn for job seekers. It was my pleasure to spend this time with you. I really enjoyed it. This is my favorite subject. I love to share what I know with you. And I look forward to working with you to support your job search and career growth.